Welcome to FMA Talk. I am your host, Datu Tim, with my special guest host,
Rich Parsons,
Master Rich Parsons. And I have a surprise guest popping in later. So I'm not going to talk about him or her or they or whatever it happens to be. So how you doing, Rich?
I'm doing good. How you been doing, Tim?
Doing good. Haven't seen you since May.
Yeah. It was a great event. I had lots of fun.
Yeah. So Master Parsons and I are talking about the 65th anniversary camp for Modern Ernies. Master Parsons was one of the presenters, and a bunch of things happened, including a long overdue announcement, which things got in the way. Where's the beer?
Water.
Nothing I can do. Bill, are you still in the Philippines or are you back in Guam? But a long overdue announcement we had planned on doing, but COVID got in the way. And when it comes to the Bakan Buat lineage, the World Modern East Alliance looks at Master Parsons as being the leading authority on that. He and I were classmates together. But when it comes down to questioning of techniques and stories of the historical stories and stuff of that nature, Rich is my go-to guy.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. So a lot of announcements came out like that. Still in the Philippines. We'll be here until the middle of next month. Okay. All right. So Bill's going to be on the show in the future. So listen, everybody, when you make some comments, just let us know what part of the world you're coming in. Or commenting from, and sometimes this does not show up as you. It may come up as Facebook user, not you. So whenever possible, watch one of the YouTube channels, which is Datu Tim or Tim Hartman. Those are the best ways to do it. And do me a favor to start off the show, please. If you to help support what we're doing, subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit that notification button, and feel free to share the video wherever you feel appropriate. So I'm going to start off with my rant because I'm still our special secret guest is doing a grading tonight. So I'm not sure when, we know how long those go and how they can come out of nowhere, but here we go. And Eric, hey Eric, Whitby, Ontario. There we go. Nice to have you on board tonight, Eric.
Good to meet you, Eric.
And Master Parsons, yeah.
If I had a penny for every time that someone dropped the S, I would be retired.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of Canada, my name is showing up this time. Yeah. Speaking of Canada, Eric, I'm going to be up in, where's Carl from? Cambridge. We're doing a November camp up there. Probably a 2-day mini camp.
Nice.
So open all, no matter what denomination you're from, of modernities. I mean, we're equal opportunities offenders here, so we're open up to everybody.
You don't have any Filipino martial arts, you can still show up.
Yep, there you go. It's open all. So, hey, Mr. Terrell, how you doing? I was just chatting with him. Always good to see you, my friend here. So listen, I'm going to start off with my rant, get this over with, say it real quick. We've been talking about grandmasterships here it's been a big theme the last few months, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, if you're going to be going around as a grandmaster and there's certain criteria you need to fit. Now, when it comes to Remy Pracis affiliated programs, not the Ernesto Pracis, but on the Remy side, there's a whole bunch of Modern East Grandmasters of late. There's only 4 that I really acknowledge that fit the criteria of being a GM. I'm going to hit it up right now. In the Philippines, you got Rodel Daguk.
Of course.
He's global presence. Students at multiple schools around the world are affiliated with him.
And a really nice guy, too.
Nice guy, talented. And if you want to see Remy Pracis Modern Ernies, prior to his traveling to the States, that's the guy you want to look at.
Yep.
There's a lot of other talented martial artists over there, but if you want to find the closest thing to it, he's the guy to look at. Even though he's evolved his DOS into even though his personal expression has evolved, which become the artist systems, the thing here is it still has that recognizable core of Remy Precis modernities.
Yeah.
We can go to Germany, and in Germany you got Dieter Knudel. Now, I've been upfront about this. I don't necessarily think he really represents Remy's art as opposed to Precis' family, because he's more on the Kombatan side of things, in my opinion. And he also has other systems like the Anina Eskrima and the JKD blended in there. But the thing is, when it comes to being a grandmaster, that criteria, he fits all the criteria. He's got students who have students. He's multiple. And our guest is on hold. I'll be putting you on in a minute, my friend. This is my rant. You can just listen to the rant. Just don't. I don't want to get the stink on you, my friend. And he's chuckling. So you got Dieter checks all the boxes for being a grandmaster, just not necessarily a good fit, a good one there. Would Remy Jr. fit? No, because he didn't do his father's art. And when it came to the will, he willed it to his students, not to his son. Plus, I don't think Ernesto is half the guy that half my students are. But I mean, not Ernesto, Remy Jr. Wasn't doing martial arts for the last 20 years of Remy being in the States. At least not to our knowledge. Do you know of anything about that?
I don't.
Okay. So we'll go on. I don't want to make that a big thing. So then we'll go over into the SeaTac area, Seattle, Tacoma, Washington area. Kelly Warden. He is definitely a grandmaster. Checks all the boxes with his NSI Renegade JKD. Just not necessarily the person to be carrying the banner to promote Remy Precis modernities, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about who fills the criterias for being a grandmaster. And then myself, once again, I follow all those categories. Plus, my grandmaster title came from Ernesto Precis. But it is in Kombatan, because he made a point of telling me, Tim, I can't promote you in my brother's art, but I can promote you in mine, which then means none of the family can promote anyone in modernities to that level because it wasn't theirs to do such. Now, there are 4 other people, and one of the people have been pimping off lately, and Dan Anderson's been making comments about what it takes to be a grandmaster and how other people can be these things, and he disagrees with stuff. We've talked about it on the show. I've invited him on the show. He's more than welcome to come say his piece. There's 4 people: Dan Anderson, Brian Zawolinsky, Brian Johns, and Earl Tullis that have been all promoted to grandmaster within the last year. And I have no reason why, because they don't check any of the boxes of doing this. I mean, if you're going to be a grandmaster, how many masters have you produced? Are you just one school, or are you multiple schools and multiple schools? And Dieter made a comment about a pyramid. Okay, a pyramid, not a small triangle. For some of these guys, they're just a period. It's just them, and they teach out of their home. Now, it'd be different if they had a long martial art career and decided to dial it back, but that's not the case. So my invitation is to any or all 4 of you, by all means, come on the show. You tell us why you think you deserve it. Well, give us the opportunity. I'll give you the opportunity to change my mind. Personally, I don't think they have I don't think Dan specifically really has he's brave enough to come on the show and do that, but that's just my opinion. But it's an open door policy. Now, with no further ado, we're going to bring our surprise guest on, because today's topic is about McDojos, and who would know better than Jesse Dwyer? Oh, no.
Oh, hi, Jesse.
Wow.
No.
What's going on, guys?
I've been to Jesse's school. His school rocks. So Jesse and Ty inspired my rant last week. My tirade, which Terrell made it. He goes, he loved it because so first of all, I have to apologize to everybody and Microsoft because it was not Windows 11 that screwed up. I have a privacy thing on my camera, which I never do that because I unplug my camera when I'm done with it, except once.
Except for once.
And I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, and I'm screaming and hollering, doing all this other stuff, and it was working the whole time. So, but Terrell thought it was amazing because I'm talking to you guys like I am now, and then I turn to the camera and go, "You." But this has been a topic that's brought up a bunch of times, and I thought we could address it today. And since Jesse and I think all three of us feel the same kind of way. We feel strongly about this. I think we need to talk about what a McDojo is first. And I got a post from Terrell, but nothing's there.
Yeah, I don't see anything from you there.
Yeah. So, but first of all, I think one thing of a McDojo is just a charlatan. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And Terrell goes, LOL. Then Mr. Mason from Sudbury, Ontario, 4 hours north of Toronto. PG Craig, nice to have you on board. And then the other one, I think, is charging money and not offering quality, the equal or greater quality of service. How do we feel about that?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
and depends upon what they're looking for that service too. But
Jesse, what do you? Hey, Sam, what do you think?
You got to have the quality. I mean, I know that I've been in business full time for over 23 years. I've been teaching since I was 18 in other schools, and I've got a lot of time in, plus travel and everything like that. So I'm going to charge a little more. And I'm 100% worth what we charge here. And I don't think because I make money and make my living off of a karate school makes it a McDojo. It's like what you said, the charlatans, the ones with the false ranks, the ones who are just promoting themselves, the ones who really have no true claim, 30-year-old 10th degree black belts, those type of things. That's not real. That's a McDojo. You know, I've, how many 30-year-olds do we know with 10th degree, 10 degrees? It's pretty crazy sometimes.
Yes, Jesse, I understand what you're saying. Keep going.
Yeah. So, I mean, if a person's looking, especially right now with character development or bully prevention, if they know what they're getting into and they know the family knows that they're not signing their kid up to an MMA school or a cage fighting school or anything like that, they know what's happening, then that's what they're getting into. If you're expecting to do cage fighting and then you should go up to a school, they never do it, you can't call them a McDojo if they never said they were going to do that. I think a lot of people just get jealous. Truthfully, I think just people say they can't, oh, they're making money and I didn't make money. And now they're a McDojo, even though they don't know the quality. Like I've got full contact fighters from the past, and we have people that are there just to become better people. The dojo goes across the whole way.
Right.
And here we go. 3 of my friends on a great podcast. Thank you, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
So Rich and I have been to the Philippines. I've been there about 7-8 times, and Rich got to go with us on one of the trips when we did the documentary, and he got to see firsthand. If we're talking about, once again, I think the criteria, there's 2 categories that we got into. One is charlatans who are making shit up as they go or saying they do one thing when it's another. And then there's the other ones that worry about the money and not the quality of service.
Right.
So what percent having gone to the Philippines, I've got my opinion, but what percentage do you think school-wise or instructor-wise fits into that McDojo mindset in the Philippines? And I'm going to the New Year's. Don't worry about getting me in trouble. I'll get myself in trouble.
Well, first of all, I didn't see every school in the Philippines. Okay. Of those we saw at Luneta Park and elsewhere, it was a significant number, 30-40% at least.
So let's really point down. First of all, there are no such things as schools in the Philippines. I only for Filipino martial arts, the only two that I know of is Dulce Parra's headquarters, which we didn't get to go,
Not that trip, no.
and Arnice Village. Now, Arnice Village was run by Riddell de Guck, who was a very good friend of mine. And that was the second coming of Arnice Village. The first one, it failed. It just, financially, it didn't pay off. The second one, he has property. He built a dojo on his own property. And he has his goods there as well. It's also a showroom. So it's almost, in my opinion, a home Joe like PG Craig Mason, which took his garage, made it into a dojo, but his garage is better than a lot of the dojos I've gone to.
Yeah.
and that's Craig's. I got to say, Riddell's place is phenomenal, but I'm pretty sure the majority of his income is not martial arts. It sticks. So let me do this
Sticks,
here.
Kamagong, other devices.
Martial arts training gear.
Yes.
Okay, Bill says, I can attest to that statement of charlatans in the Philippines. I ran across a lot of them in the 45 years I've been coming here. Okay, there we go. Joseph, I've traveled the country for over 4 years with my girlfriend, visited over 4 states and hundreds of schools to answer the very question that you're asking. Okay. Very good. Very good. So when we talk about places to go and things like that, it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. Now, before we start making this criteria, I want to point out something. So all these people that talk about the McDojos, where did you get your training from? Okay, so every backyard group I know of came from a bigger group, at least here in Buffalo. Jesse?
Well, real quick, to the term McDojo, I almost want to say the terminology McDojo came out in a black belt magazine in like 91 or 92, and it was Fred Begley who was saying it, but they weren't doing it in a negative way. He was saying it in a way that said, I have these CIS schools, and they're all going to be the same. And at that time, they were talking about high quality schools, but they were like, you can go from my school here, this state, and be able to see the same thing. So I remember when he first coined it once, saying it wasn't like a bad thing. It was basically saying we've systemized it and said, we're going to keep moving. He wasn't doing it. And then it became like a bad thing. And maybe it was said before that, but the first time I ever heard of it was that back in Black Belt magazine when probably 1990, 91.
And actually, if that's what people are talking about, that is a great model. McDonald's was the first real chain that I know of that systemized everything to have the same quality product.
Walking patterns. So not just their food, not the cook times, but if you have to go to a certain station from another station, you have to follow a certain path that avoids collisions, that avoids time loss. They've got it down to a science.
So let's go right off the bat. Dan Medina, our good friend, says hello from South Carolina. Dan, how you doing? We got to now that I've got my anniversary camp over, Dan, we got to get you on the show. Got to have you on the show. And let me see, Mr. Rebello, I have found that when I go to a city and there's a Kempo studio who is questionable, either they do and they do not. My dyslexia kicks in today. Do not want me to visit, or if I show up, it looks the terror purposely to avoid meeting me. Joe, it's you. No one wants to talk to you. Here we go. The term McDojo is usually used to refer to martial arts schools that is a black belt factory, or as many students that not possess sufficient expertise qualifies black belts. Now, I'm going to talk about that one in a minute. Let's go back in there. That term was first used in the 70s, and Dan says, good. Jiu-jitsu from, what do you think of GM? I think he's a very good, talented martial artist, but I see more combatant out of him than anything else right now. So he was an Ernesto guy, And what I see is, okay, here we go. When it comes to my Praces Arnis, you will see Remy Praces Arnis with Ernesto Prace flavors here and there. That's what I see with Bambit. But reverse, I see Ernesto Praces with Modern Ernie sprinklings. That's why with the Praces we talk about the family, but my expertise is on the Remy side of things. So when it comes to Modern Ernies, Remy Praces Modern Ernies, he doesn't fit that criteria, but he himself is a world-class martial artist. Let me just get this really quick. Personally, I think Fred Villarich in school set the pattern for McDojos. And then what we have found is a lack of education and understanding among many of the instructors and school owners and district Eagles are bound. Okay, so let's go back up to here. Okay, wait, what's it? McDojos where you thought you drive through and get fries and get your certificates. I used to joke about McDojos and talk about, when you're going for your black belt, you supersize for your second degree. I've changed the way I look at a lot of things here. So first of all, let's talk about this. Okay. Who says they don't have the sufficient expertise to qualify for black belt? That is a subjective thing. And I'm not disagreeing with you, Eric, because I do agree with you, but I also don't. Here's the thing. I've been around. Okay, I've been a special guest at a lot of Kempo events. Parker Kempo events specifically. I was in Europe and they were talking about one guy who's 70, who's testing and he can bang, but not so good. And they're talking about maybe not passing because he's still got to know how to throw down. The guy's in his goddamn 70s. I've got a guy who is a disabled vet. He's sacrificed and a volunteer firefighter. Okay. Sacrificed his body for my welfare, serving his country and serving his community. Okay. How dare I say that sacrifice that doesn't allow him to function the way he used to should supersede his ability to earn a black belt?
Can he teach? Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the other one. What defines who passes a black belt test? For me, it's the journey. It sounds chopsocky bullshit, but I'm also that blue collar guy. I'm not that Zen monk. I go out and have beers with the guys and stuff like that. The thing here is
Meat wings.
And lots of wings. Here's the thing. It's about how much they've progressed. And unless it's a tournament, we should never judge a student by the person standing next to him.
That's right.
Unless it's competition, we should never make that. Now, maybe we can give someone the example of how you should act in class. Okay, there we go. I came across Google, LOL. Okay, here we go. Listen, as a disabled vet, I thank you for your words, Tim. All right, Terrell. But I mean, Jesse, I didn't mean it.
I want to say the thing, right? I had a student who had been doing the martial arts for about 24 years when I moved here, and this blind, obese woman who they never made work out and do anything hard or difficult. This is the BOSEF I created for her that had the thirds marked out, the middle tape, and, as in our Kempo system, right punching, all these different punches. And she was doing all these, and I asked her if she could, hear me about the puncher. And obviously she couldn't because I kept hitting her. And I was like, since you obviously can't hear me, these blocks are just silly. So we took every technique that she already knew for our Kempo system, and we did every single one of them off a grab. Now we're talking about a blind woman who was very obese at the time. And by the time we were done after 3 years, now remember, over 20 years before she got me, after 3 years, she could do push-ups, jumping jacks. She did every form, every weapon form, all 75 techniques that were required and everything off of grabs. Could she have done that like the best of everyone else? No, but she rocked it, and that's what you're saying, right? That personal development. Yeah. I didn't give it to her. She did a 5-hour test with a lot of grandmasters, taking individual time to work with her, and it was awesome. So there's one part right there, like you're saying.
Okay, so my better half, Ty Botting, just chimed in. Hey guys, I'm on the plane right now. Can't hear you, but hi.
Hi, Ty.
Love you, Ty.
Okay, so I'm gonna write this. Hello, back eye. So hopefully he'll be able to read that. Okay, so let's do this here. Oh, geez, and since I'm posting on Safe Trip, okay, there we go. Let's do this here. Lastly, the extreme low standards of a belt system, which need to be abolished, and teaching ability to most alarming things we witnessed. Okay, I'm going to talk about. Let's come back here in a second. Jason, what's up? Eric, safe flight. Then that's me saying hello to Ty. Okay. Should not expect fish to climb a tree.
Nice, Dylan.
Not a destination. Okay. So once again, I've changed. I mean, like I've got an autistic student who's doing his damnedest, maybe stuck in a kid's class that he's aged out of, and we're trying to work on something right now where we get something, someone on the floor with him to do something. I'm not saying I'd make this kid a black belt, but why would I cheapen an experience for this? Why would I, I'm trying to make this should be accessible to everybody.
Yes.
They can always have a mandatory minimum, but if they can get through it, if it takes 4 or 5 years and it takes them 8 and they're still there, 9 and they can still get through the material, they put in double the amount of time and the hours of dedication. Where are we? I mean, what are we sending them off to? What is that black belt meaning? Does it mean I'm a badass, or does it mean I've grown as a person and became a black belt internally and as best I could externally for my limitations?
Well, Dragon showed up. At the end of the day, this is not the military. And if we were the military, there'd be different standards. This is not what we're doing.
So Jesse, I worked with a blind student, a couple of them as well. And we did it with touches, grabs, and it all works. But if you just came up and sniped them because they couldn't hear you or see you, then that's not a fair environment for what their learning and growth was. But once you explain to them that, hey, the hands attached to the arms attached to the shoulder rides up to the neck, there's your head, they immediately knew their spatial recognition because they're used to moving, and they picked it up. The 2 ladies didn't test for rank. They just wanted some good self-defense, but they worked with me for about a year and a half. And so I was happy to have them in a separate class just for that, because that's what they were targeting. Yes, I brought in other students to work with them and other instructors, but it was
for me, it made me a better teacher. I don't know how, I couldn't say, do this, right? You just watch me. You can't, it made me so much better teaching that.
Yeah, verbally and feeling feedback was learned a lot then as well.
100%.
I want to talk about BJJ in a minute, but let me get caught up here. Dragon's been known to be our funny guy here, so let's hear it. I've heard stories of people fly to Korea, do a 2-hour test, and a stranger passes them while they write a check. Yeah, heard the same story. The question is where they start from and how far they got it is different. Okay. And then he goes, take care. That's good. We'll be looking at the transcript. Operative phrase is the best of their ability. Great one. Here's Joe. Okay, so I'm going to say this. People might call me a McDojo. Joe produced 2 black belts that passed Remy Price's test for black belt without having a black belt himself. Okay? He produced 2 black belts without being one. He tested in Buffalo at our camp. We promoted him to 2nd degree. He physically was on the floor rocking. Now, had I known about this, I would have petitioned Remy to make this right while Remy was alive, because I've done that in the past. I am not going to insult anybody by saying, oh, you know what? You have to test for your yellow belt. I was going to get back involved with Small Circle because of the nostalgia, because Remy and Wally, and it was told to me that I would have to test for each belt one at a time. And I'm like, no. So, and here's the reason why. because what Leon J told me at a Big Three seminar, Remy, Wally, and George, Leon goes, hey, Tim, you guys go out and help my father. But we don't do small circle. Well, what do? I do modern East. He goes, it's all the same. Get the hell out there. Because Remy and Wally were like that. I'm not going to test for a yellow belt when I can outperform everybody on the floor. And now, when I did my Kun Tao and my Sikaran, it was a whole new unrelated system. I did belt by belt by belt because it was all new, unrelated. It took me 4 years to become a black belt. Right. I'm okay with that. But if I'm doing something that I'm already doing, I'm not going to do it. And in Joe's case, he'd been doing it for decades, and he never went through the testing thing. And he created this Kempo Arnis form as a project, kept taking these deep breaths. And he had a heart attack two weeks before the camp. So every time he took a deep breath, I thought he was having another heart attack. So, but he went out and he kicked ass. And I promoted him to a second degree. Is that me being a McDojo guy? Or is that me doing what should have been done a long time ago? So, yep. And hey, the military has lowered their standards over the last 2 years. Okay. Eric Land. I was always told a black belt, the real beginning of the martial art journey, that you achieve the basic overview of the art, and now the real work begins. And we've talked about that a lot. Now you're an advanced beginner. If you look, the Americas, U.S. and Canada, North America as a whole, our black belts are usually first and second degree black belts are usually better than the Japanese and Okinawas because we've always trained it as the ending, not the beginning. But when you get to mid-level black belts, we are blown out of the water because there's so much other stuff out there. But now we're getting more and more better black belts here because less and less people in Japan want to do their own martial art. And they're saying a lot of times in the Asian culture systems, the foreigners are more into the arts than their own people. Yeah. Because what's everyone doing in the Philippines and Japan right now? Karaoke, dance routines, if they can afford them, drifting, and talking English. They're not doing
karaoke twice in Japan, just twice.
Okay. Well, the Philippines they take it to a whole nother level.
That was great.
But I was talking to Goldberg Sensei, and he's telling me about when he was in Japan for the Datu Jiu-Jitsu. They're saying, hey, the Americans are more Japanese than we are because our kids are playing all these American games and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Once I get caught up with Kara, I want to talk about BJJ. So McDojos will give ranks to anyone regardless of the skill set. Only they can perform a fraction of the material and give an art.
That'd be a good term. I think that'd be a good terminology. Like you have this set skill, and then they're giving them out anyways, and not even meeting the minimum. That would be a McDojo a little bit, depending on the person, obviously. And
okay, my school is a 5-year black belt. Sadly, 3 years in where they get lazy. Okay. And when do they get a plane and return the trip? They cross international dom line. I know every timeline they get a degree. Okay, and then I'm going to get the Kara.
Flew around the world one.
How long does it take to get a black belt? What is the length of the average length between degrees? Well, that's system by system. So you know what it takes an average person to get a black belt? 0, because average people quit. Now, here's what we've done in our organization. We keep reproportioning the belts, and it's still the same amount of material to become a 5th degree black belt. But we found out we got a little front heavy. We kept putting more and more stuff on the front end, and it became and just like, well, wait a minute, when did I really learn this? I was a 4th degree black belt when I learned this. This is easy for me, and I put it in a color belt section. But maybe this should have been at a higher degree.
The I'm going to add stuff but not take stuff out system.
Yeah. Well, Well, that's where. Okay, listen. We can talk. You can trash talk Taekwondo all you want. One of the biggest problems with Taekwondo is that they're one of the largest styles practiced in the world. And any system with that quantity of people are going to have that quantity of quality control issues. It's just, you could put Shotokan in there. Kempo Karate was a big thing for the longest time. Look at Tracy's.
Yeah.
You know, you could put any system, and if you give them the lion's share of the martial arts out there, they will have quality control issues. It's just a simple thing.
It just happens.
You know, when you train in your home and you have 3 or 5 guys you work with, you can go as hardcore as you want, although you should make sure you have insurance, because as soon as someone gets really hurt, they're going to sue your ass.
Take your
in your house.
Yep.
I mean,
I did all the stupid shit as a teenager. I did live weapon fighting, no gear. And we fought with stupid shit like stabs, sais, and nunchucks. We should have killed each other. Thank God we didn't know what we were doing.
We wore eye protection, though.
No, I didn't have that. I couldn't afford that. I barely afford the and the sticks I had was those Game of Death Asian World hardwood ones. Those really monster ones. We didn't have rattan. But okay, let's talk about McDojo. If you went away for a weekend training camp and then came back being able to open up a school in that program, what would you say?
How long had you trained before you went to the camp?
Nothing. You just went away for a training camp and you came back.
Yeah, that's hard to swallow.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that how Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu started? The Gracies were doing training camps and you would go and get your blue belt and able up a BJJ program. Now it takes 2 years to become one, but they use that paradigm as a seminar-based system. So we gotta make sure that we put everything in the proper context. So, you know, but you look at what the Gracies did, and you'd go to a training camp, you come back a blue belt. And in BJJ, that's considered a basic instructor. So we got to be careful when we start casting stones at people. Make sure we know who's there. All right. So, listen, that could be 3 to 5 years and 3 to 5 years. So I'll give you an example. I had Shia test for her black belt. She's 11 years old. She got her adult black belt. Okay. Rich, tell us about Shia.
All right. What impressed me about Shia, everybody who's on Tim's senior council, she worked with. She scored. And it wasn't just she played tag, she scored. She hit them. Now, was she knocking them out? No. But was she giving it everything she had? Yes. When she was sparring and stick sparring with people, the only person that had any serious control with her was the other gentleman in his early 20s, third degree. Her footwork, her hand switches, it was like she was copying Datu Tim. I was like, hey, I've seen him do that. Oh, yeah. I've seen Ryan Monopoulos do that too. Yeah, okay. So there's some consistency in his teaching of his students. Good. But there's also consistency of phenomenal students taking it to the next step. And she's not average. She has dedication. She has heart. And she just really loves it.
So she started with me when she was 3 years old. She'll go to a tournament, compete all day, then go home, pick up a piece of rebar or something, and do staff forms in her backyard for another hour or two because her mom would send me the videos after the tournament. This girl hits the heavy bag. Like, okay, the one tournament we were in, the league, we used to do pad drills because it was a school that didn't do forms until a certain belt level. So they would just do, boxing pad drills. And I brought Shia. Our school dominated because we do boxing pad drills. And she's a 6-year-old hitting the pads. Everyone heard thud, thud, thud. And some of the black belts are like, I want to be like that when I grow up. And this is as her color belt. So she's been to the world championships, fighting people a foot or more taller than her. going to her left and right. She's went from the little Arnisadors, which are the 3 to 6-year-olds, to the juniors, the 7 to 12, and now she's in my adult program. She's 11 years old and started with me at 3. She's been with me 8 years. I've got a whole bunch of kids, including Ryan, who tested for his 3rd degree, who started with Janice at 3 or 4 years old. That's a 2-year program. Then do my program, my juniors, which is a 3-year program, and then do the adult program, which is another 3 to 5-year-old program, depending on how much you can commit to. So when I have a junior becoming an adult black belt, they probably train with me 8 years. Okay. So, just put things in perspective here. And Shia can do shit left and right.
I got 2 coming up this weekend. They've been with me 9 years. So they're going up for their full showdown.
There you go.
They are younger than normal, but I put them with the adults. Right? Yep. I mean, they are only 14, but they can fight an adult. Maybe not win, but they can fight them and run.
Well, there's a reason why there's a weight class.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, and that's the thing is, I had a long thing. We had a big debate about that a while ago, and someone said, "Well, they can't defend themselves." I go, "What about this guy who outweighs everyone by 100 pounds? If that's your criteria, this person was a black belt the first day they walked in."
That's right.
And it's like, So here we go. There's videos out there of tests showing deplorable demonstrations of martial arts. We know those out there. We've seen them. Okay. The ability to teach is a skill set and rarely has anything to do with someone's rank, style. We need less students. Less style bias, and teachers to put out the needs. Okay, so funny you shouldn't mention that. So my rant was about people who are claiming to be grandmasters, right? Okay, my question's always been, how many students have you produced? Okay. For 3rd degree and higher in our organization, you have to produce black belts. We're doing our modern Arnie's curriculum, not our Price's Blend, but the modern 3rd degree. You need 2 teaching credits. So each degree is a teaching credit. So for your 3rd degree, you need to produce 2 1st degree black belts or coach someone else up for their 2nd degree. Now it's a cumulative. You don't have to keep doing new ones over and over again. So for your 4th degree, you need 4. For your 5th degree, you need 8 credits. For your 6th degree, you need 16 credits, so on and so forth. Because we don't need a bunch of people with higher rank. We need more foot soldiers out there to increase the gene pool to make sure there's another generation after us.
That's right.
Which is what always goes back to why I sit there. Why do you, okay, if you only a one school guy, you only need to be about 1 or 2 degrees above you need to be 2 degrees above the highest ranked person. That way, when you promote them, then you're one above them, and then you can do whatever you need to do to get that other grade up, so you can pop it.
Is that why we have 11th degree black belts now, so they can get up to 9th?
Well, I'm wearing a 15th based on the quality of the people that are going out there. I mean, all these people as of late.
If Grandmaster of the Universe Child can become a 15th degree, I think it's all good.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so here we go. If you are a camouflage belt, you may be a McDojo. Well, listen, I have a camouflage belt that I give out.
Father's Day.
That was for Student of the Month.
Mine was his dad's.
Yeah, that's a dad thing.
We did a Father's Day workout, and the dads got their camouflage belt, which equaled a white belt.
Okay, well, I actually told people there's always the clear belt, which is below white. But okay, here we go. Hello, Datu Tim and Sir Rich and Sir Jesse. Greetings from the Philippines, Pugay.
Thank you, sir.
That is Grandmaster Unio Lanata, the son of the great Grandmaster Carlito Lanata of Lanata Cuntao.
Yes, sir.
Which is one of the arts I'm certified in, and he's part of he was also in the documentary, the Philippines. Okay, welcome from the Philippines, circa 1970s. Okay, all right, here we go. There is no physical endeavor which requires external colored garments to display a student's abilities. The belt is one of the main contributors to a McDojo. I'll disagree. Listen, It was the Asians that did belts. It wasn't the Americans. I think we made them more colorful.
We may have added one or two.
But the Q system was the Japanese methodology. It was not the American. Right. We just added color to it.
That's right.
So you got to start with the Japanese and Okinawans. Okay. So boom.
Can we jump back? I was thinking of what Kara wrote about how long in between.
Yeah.
And you made it perfect. Like it depends on the school and the system and everything like that. But a lot of times it's the character of who's teaching it too, because my students are basically coming 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week. But I'm in that dojo 30 hours a week, 20 hours a week since I was 14, and full-time dojo owner since I was 23. Mm-hmm. I still have gone on the exact same timeline of ranks as my counterparts only doing 2 hours a week. But that's me, right? It doesn't mean somebody else, because I've always been younger in the arts to begin with. So it's got to be a hard tell on that one. Are you doing hours or years? How many hours in a year? Did you take time off? Or, if I've been a martial artist, are people telling me they're a martial artist for 35 years because they trained 35 years ago and haven't done it in 30 years? So they're only martial artists for 5 years, but they're saying they've been doing it for 35. That makes sense with some of it. So I think, again, it's got to be the teachers that are choosing the quality and the time they put in.
Well, are they repeating the same year over and over again too?
Yeah.
I mean, well, because you could have a situation where the person has been doing it for a long time, but they haven't been progressing. They've been repeating the same year. It's like, how many years have you repeated your senior year of high school? I mean, is there a reason that you? Okay, hold on. I got it. Okay, I got Joe's YouTube channel up. I'm gonna have to look at that later. So, Joe, I'm definitely gonna check your stuff out. Hell, maybe we'll have you on the show sometime.
So Jesse, what I think Dr. Tim was going to, and there's no disrespect to you, but in general, some people they stagnate. They're at that same level, teaching beginners, teaching intermediates, teaching the low level black belts, and then they don't go practice because they've spent so much time. Now, you can get better as teaching there, but then even after a few years there, many of them will stagnate and follow the same sequence, the same lesson plans, and they don't look at the differences in their students. They don't look at the differences in their target to see, is this a right on right mirror, left on right reflection type learning? Do they have to feel it as well as hear it? Do they have to hear it in a certain vocabulary? Because sometimes when you're talking to a PhD, an engineer, and a mechanic, they're all intelligent. They've all got skill sets, right?
Yes.
But your references and examples may need to have slightly different terms. So do you repeat it multiple times and insult one of them? Or do you just look at your target and understand how to approach that? All of those are valid, right?
Yes.
But if you're not still growing, like Datu Tim, he'd go out and start working on other systems, and he'd start not just for his own growth, but for marketing, but for his own growth personally, right?
Yes, sir.
So I can tell you were growing, teaching, and moving and stuff because how happy you were. But because the people who stagnate get that, yeah, I've been teaching for 20 years, and you still got that smile and that growth in the eyes, and so that's why I said no disrespect meant for that to you.
Absolutely.
But
I wear my plain black belt when I teach in class. I have one solid, and all my instructors in my building all wear a black belt, just solid black, no stripes, no nothing. When we test, we might put our ranks on.
Right.
So no, I appreciate it. I'm not taking anything wrong on any of this.
No. I mean, we've known each other for a long time. So
yeah.
The thing here, but some of the people out there, they're repeating the same year over and over again.
I understand. It took me a second to understand what you were saying there, but I get what you're saying now.
Or their instructor doesn't know. Okay, now let's think about this. If you think about martial arts in the States, most of the people that brought it over didn't know jack.
That's right.
Think about this. How did most of the martial arts open up to the community? It came through the military, right?
Right.
Traditionally.
They were in Japan, Okinawa, Korea, 6 to 18 months, and then come back and open up a school. What would we call that here? McDojo. But the people that we're talking about would be the Lewis, the Wallace, the Norris. These are guys that were pioneers who busted their ass and did the right thing. But when we talk about the material that they had, the quantity of material, they probably didn't have. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is, those are the pioneers that brought it back, and they did the best what they can. I mean, hell, we know Superfoot's out there. Bill Wallace is still tearing it up. And still in his 70s, kicking people upside the head because he can. And he's teaching boxing, and not just how to kick. He's teaching it all. When it comes to punch kick, man, he is got his.
And he's still on the floor doing it too.
Yeah. Yes.
Much respect to him. Yeah.
Yes.
So the first time I went to the show in New Jersey, Atlantic City, they called him up to give him a special event. And he was walking back, and there was a kid just staring at him, wide-eyed, jaw on the floor. And he walks over and gives this lifetime style award to the kid. And everybody, some of the presenters were frustrated, but the whole room just like literally stood up and, clapped, because it was a great moment for the inspiration to that child and everybody else in the room. So not only did he try to inspire others, but he was trying to share it. And then he walks over and taps me on the shoulder and he says, the kid, he really, I could see he really wanted something. And he was just totally surprised. And the fact that he didn't even know me, but he walked right up to me and talked to me as we were friends. Now, I'd met him before, but I'm not saying we knew each other at the time, right? So, yeah, he's a phenomenal guy, personally, phenomenal technique. Yeah.
Let me get caught up here. So I've seen this sometimes. Each degree Don is 25 pounds. Just kidding. But when you have a fitness on your wall, people should walk the walk. Okay. Although I resemble that a little because, I've had a car accident and messed me up, but I didn't change the caloric intake either. I got to take responsibility for that, but I'm still on the floor moving.
Nothing beats Master Ken's comment back in the day on his page where he said, I was going to bring a picture of all the 10th degree Kempo black belts, but it weighed 10,000 pounds and I couldn't fit it in the camera or something.
There you go. I will say this, martial artists are human, and our metabolism changes at times. And you look at all, okay, we're not all Tom Cruise out there who've got personal trainers galore,
right?
Or Mark Wahlberg or Dwayne Johnson. When you got that kind of money, you can hire the people to keep you on point.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have our ups and downs in life too. Everyone does.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, we've had a little one lately. It's all been called COVID. But there's a lot before that. Okay, remove the belts and the martial art industry will collapse. That is how it should be abolished. The discrepancy of rank. So what are you trying to say then? Are you saying that martial arts should go away? If it's a good tool that, I have a belting system. It helps keep the children inspired. Just like graduate. Well, actually, shouldn't we do that with the edge? Okay, martial arts is an education system, right?
Yes, sir.
So should we get rid of graduations at the end of every year? Should we just get rid of the grade system in school and just let everyone figure it out for themselves? And just come to school and stay as long as you feel like it. Is that what we're saying? Am I taking this the wrong way? No comment?
No, I think you're doing it the right way on that. I think you're saying it the right way, but you need it. It's not.
Now listen. So Rich and I both did Balintawak. No rank structure whatsoever. You're either the original system, not what you see others do. We're talking Ted Buat, who was the successor for Anshan Bakan. Tim, there's two stops. I'm telling what Ted told me. Rich, you can call bullshit on me when I go this. Tim, there's only 2 levels: the teacher and the student. Rich,
Yeah.
they were talking about doing membership cards. Villiason, who is the attorney who is most noted for spreading the
Grouping methodology.
he wanted to do membership cards, and then they started getting into who would be number 1 card, who would be member number 2. And Anshaw was like, no. And I knew he was going to show up. Renee, remove belts and the pants will drop. And hello, Darren. I was waiting for this, waiting for him. So, and as a martial arts and there was no certificates, no nothing. I pressed him. I pressed a lot. And eventually what happened after his stroke, they instigated a bloodline diploma, a lineage diploma, which Rich and I both have. And the thing was, I kept saying, how do we tell who your teachers? Oh, just tell them that you train with Ted. It doesn't work that way, sir.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way. Now, I wish there would have been some kind of certification for my Balintwak. But you know what? It doesn't matter because I did all the time. It was well worth every bit, diploma or not. Okay? Because I was doing research. So I've done all these systems, most of which are related to modern Ernest core, because these are things that contribute to the creation of the art. So I was trying to do my lineage, like Alex Haley was searching for Kunta Kinte. I was looking for Lapu Lapu. When they did the movie Roots, I was looking at our roots because I knew modern Ernest, which predated Jeet Kune Do, was the Filipino Jeet Kune Do. Absorb what is everything that Bruce Lee was talking about. Remy did, with one exception. Remy's art, when he taught it, was not about fighting; it was about learning self-defense. But his personal expression fit in that full category. But so there's definitely things out there that I've done that there's no certification in.
Yes.
But what's so bad about a belting system? What is so wrong about having belts? I know my kids, it gives them those short-term goals. I mean, personally, I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu needs to put more belts in because they probably lose so many students. And I get it. If you're a black belt, if you become a black belt in BJJ, holy cow, are you you are good. You should be good. Yeah. Unless you pay for it. And guess what? I've heard all the same stories about BJJ black belts buying belt as well. So before anyone says, well, you won't find it there, you find it there. But like judo is a phenomenal art. And part of rank promotion is competition. So you have to line people up to get that right appropriate level so you don't have the equivalent of black belts going up against white belts. What's wrong with the belting system? That's what I like to know. Okay, let's get caught up here. My comment to welcome live weapons training. Okay, all right, got it. I did kendo. Oh, you must have money because that's expensive. And there were no belts. Kendo has a belting system because I have a guy who's a multi-degree black belt from Japan teaching in my school, not kendo, but the idea is that they should be able to have skill in the way a person moves in armor, footwork, and so on. There is a belting system in kendo. Or I know that there's at least black belts in kendo, because Kimura-san, who was actually teaching Shorinji Kempo in my school tonight, is I think is a second or third degree. So, we got there. Let me get caught up here. I think the belt system is used to give students a sense of accomplishment to keep them interested into training. Well, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Unless
you're so funny, of course, Carl. Carl's another Kempo guy.
Yeah.
It's fake Kempo because it's Canadian Kempo, but no.
Injury Kempo.
Listen, anything that's used to keep people on point, what's wrong with that?
That's right.
And I can look at a room full of people wearing belts, knowing what material they shouldn't have in the repertoire. I'm going to do this throw. Okay, if I know what system if I know the system, I can figure out who I can and cannot throw.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Rocky. Rocky's always good for
Rocky.
some fun. Rank should be,
Don't want to see online.
but in a positive, growing way. That's why we have grades in school, ranks in the military. As long as the rank isn't handed out, it's fine. It is also the respect, as is just because a green belt is younger and a white belt than a white belt must show respect to the younger student because his knowledge he has possesses them. But okay, here we go. Scott, I love getting a belt. Makes me feel I'm improving a skill. I have my belts displayed. He's one of my students. So he likes it, but belts are an incentive to do more. Kendo has ranks, but don't display it belt in class. Okay. All right. Dan Medina. You're right. Kendo have belts. Okay. Carlos from Master Parsons. Nice to see you. And Dan Donzella. Oh my goodness. I haven't heard from you in a while. Listen to you guys watching Stanley Cup multitasking. Oh, okay. Who's winning?
Real quick, I want to point out Kara, who I know is always on here. She just got promoted to a new rank like a weekend ago.
Yeah.
I think she got her 4th degree black belt. She's rocking and rolling. She's awesome.
Yes, she is.
Congratulations, Kara.
And Kara came to Buffalo. I mean, she's got family in Buffalo. She came to Buffalo for our anniversary camp.
She comes to the dojo when she's going to be at my dojo this weekend.
Okay. And John, one of my long distance students. I'm sure it would be a lot harder to keep kids engaged without any belts. Kids work hard for their stripes and ranks. I know I did. Well,
so as to respect, I'm going to call Rocky out again. Rocky, I respect you. You need to be on the show. Okay.
Oh, we were supposed to, but we gotta get back to that now that the camp's over. Nothing wrong with working towards a rank. So, if we're talking okay, so this is one of the things I busted people's chops. So I was talking to someone in Michigan. You're only a 22nd degree. You must not be that good. He's a Kempo guy, by the way. He used to be
I'm sure he is if he's going to pull out the Amore Dote.
He's no, I'm talking about Master Ken was on Marshall Talking back in the day.
Oh yes.
So, which I was one of the co-founders. Okay, at my dojo, they're not really crazy about belts. You don't have to be crazy about them either. So it depends on how you use them. But okay, here's one of the things I came and I had one person tell me, it was a Michigan person, and we're talking, and she was like, I would never disrespect one of my senior students by promoting someone past them because I actually came up and passed a lot of people that started before me. And I'm like, but listen, I mentioned the person's name and go, is it disrespectful holding someone back because someone has started before them? I mean, like going to college, if, Jesse, you go to college 2 years before me, but you can only do one semester, one class per semester because you have life commitments.
Right.
Should I have to wait for you to graduate before I can? If I'm pulling as many courses, and some of these kids in school they're going in, and aren't they like their first year? They're like a sophomore.
Yeah.
They're skipping freshmen already. They're on the 3-year program versus the 4-year program. And if you're on the 8-year program because life doesn't allow you to do more, should we hold you back? He is in an airplane. He's flying home. That's why he's not here.
Yeah, he should be at the airport.
Okay, I got the one. We do color shirts. Actually, I do color wristbands too, but even still, okay, color T-shirts. Guess what? It's a rank system. So, listen, I used to have people argue with me about, well, we don't use belts. What do you use? I use sashes. Same damn thing. I go, listen, I don't care if you do. So what we do in the summer.
Armbands.
Well, I know a Filipino system that did armbands.
Yep.
I use, I actually got it from Defense Lab. I use 1 inch or is it 2 inch silicone wristbands for the summer. You want to wear your belt, you wear the wristband because then I can see I look at what you're wearing. I know what I should be teaching you. I know what you could do with me. I mean, listen, the belt system works on both sides of the equation. If I know what belt you are, I know what material I should be teaching you. And yep, there's my girl. Okay. So successful schools, does that mean they're automatically a McDojo? That's today's topic. Jesse, how say you?
I think, again, there's just a lot of jealousy out there because they see people being successful and they don't see it. So the first thing that'll come out of their mouths is, oh, but all of my students are awesome. All 7 of my people can kick butt, right? And it's just not fair. It's if you out there to be a living, it's not about fair, I should say. But if I'm out here doing this as my living, right, I want to make money on it. And I want to make sure that I'm putting just as much time in my business and learning how to run a business as I did my martial arts. I have spent a lot of my life learning martial arts and this much doing my business. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I've really cranked out my business ability. I've been fortunate to always be successful, but I'm finally actually able to support my family. Some people might not want to support their family doing the martial arts. I think that's great. I think they should be in churches and in the YMCAs, and they should be in their garages, and they should be having the absolute best that they have. But
Bringing
you can't
space, Jesse or Tim. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't be putting down the other person who's producing a lot of awesome people and also charging and making a career and a life out of it. I've got a degree in social work. Right now, the amount of students I have coming in and with mental health issues from the COVID shutdowns and everything like that, it's brutal. So me improving their mind is just as important as their body. You know, mind, body, spirit, we're always talking about. Me getting their minds back in track. Like maybe the first year, they're not going to be the best karate people, but they haven't touched a single person in 2 years. They haven't been in contact with somebody in a year and a half. I think that progression could be huge. And I have 3 children and a wife. I want to make sure I can go on vacation in Virginia in 2 weeks. That doesn't make me a McDojo. My students can do their material. My students are coming in. I just had a test tonight, and it was awesome. It was spectacular.
Great.
So Dragon says we should wear suspenders.
Bingo.
Kara says COVID wreaked havoc on the business side of things. I feel for you owners. Let me talk about this. So being a successful business person, you mean like Wally J, Remy Pracis, wait for it, Danny Inosanto, Chuck Norris, Joe Louis, Bill Wallace. They're all successful. Are they all McDojo? Okay. Is that what you're saying? All the people that are McDojo, where did your training come from? Listen, the schools today are softer than they used to be. We needed to because the laws, if you really want to change things, change our healthcare system where no one goes without healthcare. So they don't have to sue, and they should never have to sue, but we're also sue crazy on shit. You go in and you get hurt. Oh, I'm going to sue for this. I'm going to sue for that. Well, no one was negligent. Accidents happen. But the stuff we used to do back in the day, the dungeon dojos, was it really that smart?
No.
You know, I listen to Bill Wallace. You know that Swedish guy that has the YouTube channel who that made the connection between Kali and karate and all this other stuff. He trains with a whole bunch. There's this guy, and he'll probably see him after we talk about this. He goes travel the world, talk about martial arts. He did a thing on Bill Wallace, and his comment was, "Oh, karate nerd." That's it. Rob Guida, another Kempo guy signed in. Kempo Arnie's guy. So the karate nerd, you look him up. And he goes,
Jesse Enkamp,
the karate nerd. And he asked Bill Wallace, go, what advice would you tell people? And then he goes, if your body says is in pain, then listen to it.
Yeah.
Who would have said that old school days?
No one.
They would have been like, rub dirt on it and go from there.
Suck it up,
Buttercup.
But you haven't gone outside and shoot your guts out yet. Keep going.
I'll tell the kids that. But, the first thing I make sure is they're okay.
Right.
Okay. So I've adopted a lot of martial culture things. I got rid of a lot of stuff that other people were doing. like punching people and kicking people in for their belt promotion. It was never part of our culture. I was doing a punch in for a while, then I got rid of it because every now and then someone got hit a little hard and someone would cry foul. Some parent would cry foul, not knowing what we were doing. And the same thing is, why the hell was I doing in the first place? And then here's one. So allegedly in modern arnis, stick promotions, you get spanked with a rattan stick. Remy allegedly had a long established career of doing that. That's funny. I've only seen it once. Actually, I didn't see it once. I felt it once when he promoted me to 6th degree in Datu. But people have made it sound like this long established thing. And Brian Zwolinski was telling me, one guy, he wasn't there when he said, someone complained to him. They saw this and he wasn't at the camp. It's part of the organization he used to be a member of, that allegedly someone practically sodomized somebody with a stick. Well, I'm like, did you see this? No, I wasn't there. So you don't know. Did you see footage of this? No, you still don't know. So, but the thing here is nowadays, why would you put your hand or a stick anywhere near someone's ass? I mean, back in the day, the football days, the coach would pat the person on the ass. Good going, because there's armor everywhere on the body, and the only place that was exposed was the butt. So
and,
a little slap of the butt.
And no one likes getting hit in the kidneys.
Yeah, no one, But I mean, but the thing here is, listen, in class, I would never slap a kid on the butt. I give him a fist bump once in a while. Hey, how you doing? I don't even like giving one of my girls, one of my junior black belts. The parents are going on walkabout for 2 years, and so the girl's going to see the country. I'm going to miss her. I gave her a hug. I've only hugged about 5 of my students in my school in my life because I tried it. And I'm there. If someone gets hurt, I'll give one of the kids a little hug because the parents are always there. I'm never alone with the kids. I don't put myself in those situations. But the thing here is, it takes a lot for me to go across that.
Yeah.
Because there's just certain things I just don't like doing, and it's never been in our culture. Now the guys are gonna Jesse. I'll see Jesse. Handshake, get in, give me a hug, brother. Rich, you the same thing. But there's certain things I don't do. Okay. Now, and there was a point to that. I forgot what the hell that point was. God damn it. I hate when I do that.
Well, to continue with that point, though, Tim.
The good game. We started on the good game.
Oh, yeah. So, but I mean, people do some, like slapping the stick on the ass. The most I would do is a hug, and usually, gave some at a tournament and stuff like that. But now, I mean, why would you do something?
Hey, Chris.
Like now, it's like, why is it now bad when we do something like that? I don't think it's bad. I think we got smarter. We did what our predecessors did. Who said they got it right?
Right.
Okay,
right.
So let's go here. Owners have to adapt to COVID climate, except they have a needed change in the way they ran their business. That's why they had the better chance of being successful. Karate Jesse, yeah, yep, we got that. It was a good COVID video he did comparing the similarities. Yep. Okay, Jay. My priest would slap me on the butt and say, "Good game, Mick." Dragon, man, we need to have you on the show in person. Jesse just punches me. Hello. Okay. All right. There we go. We're caught up. So, I mean, if going lighter is McDojo, maybe we just got smarter. Maybe the stuff that we did and we thought we were doing was inappropriate. It doesn't mean we can't be intense. I got people who I was talking to a woman who's thinking about joining the organization. She wants to level up her skills, and she's telling me, "Listen, I can't show up with bruises to work the day after I get done training with you." What are you talking about? I've had people who punch me and kick me and hit me with sticks to make sure I can take a punch. I'm like, that's not what I'm about. If you want to do that, you tell me, and we'll get a witness, and it'll be a piñata party, and you can be the guest of honor. But I'd make sure that all the T's were crossed, the I's were dotted, and proper people around to understand the context. But at the end of the day, Just because I'm not whooping someone with a real hunk of rattan doesn't. And I use padded sticks. Okay, you want to know why the people back in the day didn't use padded sticks?
They didn't have any.
Exactly.
And the ones they have worse.
Oh my God! Now the rattan sticks in the Philippines, or the padded sticks in the Philippines have a rattan core. When it was my turn to fight, there was no padding on the stick. And I think, were you there when I got groined, Rich?
I think that was the previous proposal.
Sparring. I was the last one to go. Why do I feel so wussy? Oh, the padding deteriorated. I would have been better off with a live hug rattan. I got cracked right in the groin. And oh no. And I wasn't wearing a cup because I was dressed in normal street clothes because I just happened to be there, but I gained and I didn't quit. I had to stop for a moment. I needed like 30 seconds to compose myself. But, at the end of the day, I'm all about padded sticks because it lets everybody play. It's cheaper. And actually, I've broken bones with padded sticks. So I don't know when people say, well, it's, pillow fighting. Not really. Let's see here. A lot of old traditions in martial arts are found celebrating promotions to students would be compared to hazing and was banned in the military due to snowflake mentality. I don't know. I just think,
I mean, we talk about the hazing. I mean, I can't talk for every system.
No.
But I know for the old school Kempo systems, I would have walked out a bigger man from some of the hazing things I've heard about that would go on in the seminars. So that doesn't make you a better person because somebody was just doing something to you because they could, because you let them. That didn't show anything. I saw some horrible hazing back in the Kempo days, and I'm so glad it isn't around. Where there are students that slept in dumpsters here in New England so they wouldn't go home that night. They wake up the next morning at the school. And that was part of our Kempo lineage. And I sure wouldn't want to be part of that Kempo lineage. I mean, doing that, I'm part of that lineage, but I wouldn't be sleeping in a dumpster.
No.
I just wouldn't. And maybe the people that are going to be on here that have been in that dumpster and they know they know who they are. I've talked to them, but I don't think I wouldn't have done that. That's a whole nother level.
I think that's stupidity. But, a lot of the stuff that we're talked about comes down from someone ahead of time. And why was it done? I would really like to
if
see
you're a store owner, you have all your gear, you have all your place. If you own the brick and mortar yourself, then you've got an investment in the building. And if you don't, you have an investment in the community with your renter and your lease landlord. And you have a contract that is anywhere from 1 to 10 years out, right? Depending upon what you've signed. So now, if you do some of that hazing, not only are you going to lose your business, but you're going to lose your car, you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose anything that you've retired. And when somebody's going to tell you, no, they can't go after your 401ks, your IRAs, no, they can't. But they can go after you personally and say you owe them for the rest of your life. And then where's that money going to come from?
Right.
So, not saying you shouldn't have good technique, not saying you shouldn't have tests, not saying you shouldn't have testing of the material to make sure it works, right? Under the right conditions. But, I don't think, maybe the military, since I wasn't in it, I can't speak to that for why it was changed. But it's a business decision. And even if you just are a garage school and you're renting a few hours a week from another school, it's all about liability.
Mm-hmm. And
we have to, as a community, understand that liability and that risk. And we need to address that. And if you want to go out and beat each other up with sticks, done it. It's fun, but you do it places where it's not going to risk everybody, right? I also know somebody, the guy had access to his school. They brought people in for pre-military workout. They were just using the floor to work out. They told somebody, they started doing some of their MCAP routine. They told her, nope, don't post up like that. Nope, don't post up like that. Well, somebody moved wrong, hyperextended, broke her elbow. Okay, so can't sue the military. Who'd they sue? Store owner
The building.
and the building owner.
So, John, waiver doesn't, waiver means nothing. It's not worth the paper it's written on. It just acknowledges they had an idea. You need a waiver to start with. That goes a long way, but it's not the whole thing. Liability is still liability.
You have that waiver and insurance, and make sure that waiver is really good.
Yeah. Rich, tell your tuna can story.
So me and like 4 other guys were playing hacky sack after I closed up a business, and we're in the parking lot, site parking lot. One of the guys is a part-time police officer for a local area, not in the immediate environment, but like a township away. 2 of them were my instructors. One of them was a bouncer. I'm 6'3". I was probably like 240 at the time. He was probably like 6'5", 320. Now he's heavy set, but he was still moving, still doing things well. And then the other guy who was a street fighter and also a martial artist, but just not at the black belt level. And 3 cars roll in, people start running around. Where I happened to have been standing, I was the closest to the group, so I had to take point. Without it making it look like I was backing away and then would draw the attention. When I moved my foot kicked something. I looked down because it felt a little mass. So I picked up the tuna fish can. And it was sealed. I don't know how long it had been there. But so they all come running right up at me. And this guy's breathing in my chest. He's about this tall, breathing. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. And I went, dude, you're already dead. I'm going to break the guy's knee behind you, and then I'm going to come after the guy in the back because I think he's the leader. He wasn't, but I made him and everybody around him thinking I'm going through this group of 12 to 15 people. He flinched his fists. I just came right up, crossed, hit him on the side of the head with the can. As he starts to go down, I push him back into him. They start falling like dominoes. I step on the guy who I said was going to break his knee. He's like, my knee, my knee. And I jump over, and the guys in the back was running. I ran to the front of the building, did not disable the alarm, unlocked it, pulled the door. 2 minutes of an alarm, audible in the parking lot before the police call would go out. Came back and dealt with the rest. So it was an interesting situation. Of course, after action review, they're like, Rich, why'd you separate yourself? Well, I wanted to go call the police, and the easiest way to do that was to set the alarm off. Yeah, but you separated yourself. 3 or 4 could have kept the other 4 busy, and then the other 10 could have taken me out, right? And I went, great, I'll think about that next time. I had a plan, I executed the plan.
It went smooth.
All right.
It went smooth, luckily for me.
Right.
So, yeah, that is the deal. Right. Yep. Okay. Here we go.
Sorry, John.
I don't advocate these practices, but I came up during these times and haven't used them the same purposes Rich discussed. Okay. Dinner is served. Okay. So
let me go back. So the time frame was about 87, 88. Totally different environment, totally different feel for how altercations would be addressed, right? Oh, okay, it was a mutual combat situation. As it was, they all left so before the police got there.
So let's I want to wrap this up because Jesse, I told him I was going to get it done by 10. It's getting close to that. So let's think about this. It is not what's being done. It's the intent, or why is it being done? So let me ask you this: do you ever host pizza parties at your place for non-students, like birthday parties and stuff like that? There, Jesse?
I do not. I would. I just have not.
You have that.
I would hold what I do plan on doing. This is a fact. Is I do plan on holding Kohai parties or exemplary students who have done a great job and having them come with 5 friends. Without a doubt, I'm planning on doing something like that.
And why would you do that?
I 100% would be doing that to congratulate the person who's been doing a great job and showing their efforts, plus getting some of their friends in, hopefully to join my school.
So I do birthday parties. Here's the difference what I think between offering a birthday party and being McDojo. I've given birthday parties away.
Mm-hmm.
I said I would never do a birthday party until one of my girls came up, not mine, but one of my female students. Hannah came up and said, "Hey, Datu Tim, can I have my birthday party here?" How do you say no? Cute little 8-year-old girl. How do you say no? And then she brought 30 people in the school. I charge like probably $200-300 to do it for a couple hours. But since then, I've given birthday parties away for free because it brings in leads that I can get people interested in martial arts.
The return on investment.
I don't make it a business to do birthday parties. I'm not scheduling 4 or 5 birthday parties a weekend to pay my rent. I know people who've done that,
Yeah.
And it's not, and I'm not going to fault anyone for whatever they need to do to keep their doors open. But if you do birthday parties, you must be this. I've given them away because it'll give me 10, 20 new leads.
I love doing my parents' night out events where I charge the student and let them bring a friend for free. And I truly enjoy those events. And it gives the parents some time off away from their kids for a cheap babysitter cost. It's exactly what I'm doing that night. Yeah. But I'm also trying to improve my dojo and get more students.
Yeah, well, we use the same Level Up, right?
Yes, I love Level Up parents' night outs. I love them.
Okay, yeah, they're terrible. You can't get a hold of those guys ever, but
that's because they're doing a few other adventures.
Okay, so as someone who did a lot of live stick, what I learned is most of what it is bullshit. I have hit 100 times and only had to stop a few times. But what was the point? Better training, lightly padded, enjoy yourself, and train longer. Very good, very good.
With an injured partner.
Okay, thank you for doing this podcast. No problem, Chris. Boom, 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 boom. And as someone whose top student is a lawyer, and so is my daughter, waivers are useless.
So I want to say this for a person who has been in the business long enough, been sued, the waiver saved my ass.
Yes.
Now, if they had gone stronger, it may have gotten worse, but that simple waiver did save my ass one time.
Yeah, you want to have you need to have a waiver.
If I didn't have that, I would have lost everything.
Right, it's due diligence up front. If you don't have that, then that shows you didn't even attempt.
There are people who have gone on the floor with their own child, held a pad for their own child. Their own child kicked them in the face and broke their orbital bone, and they end up suing the school. And here's what you got to understand. Lawyers are not scum. Lawyers have a job to do. Their job is to get their client to win, whichever client that is.
Correct.
I've had attorneys apologize to me after we were in a car accident, and I'm out in the lobby afterwards, and the attorney's like, "Man, I'm sorry. I got to do that. My job is to, I'm like, hey, you're doing your job. I don't take it personal." Okay, here we go. Birthday party on Saturday. Okay. Mother's and Father's Day classes, bringing new students. Yep, great. Maria, greetings, gentlemen, across from Burlington. Hello. Okay, Maria, I'm going to be up again shortly. Carl and I were going to have a camp in November, and you have a paper trail. Listen, here's the thing. Anyone comes in your club or school or whatever, listen, pay the money. Martial arts are cheap, and they shouldn't be. They should invest in their future. Okay. My business my website costs me $320 a month. Okay, $320 a month. It allows me to do text messaging. There's SEO optimization going on. I use Market Muscle. They're great by me. I know there's also 97 Studios and other ones out there. I used to do it all myself. Guess what? My time is worth more money than that.
Yeah, it is.
My organization stuff, I do that on my own but I'm actually thinking about having them do my organizational website in the future. I'll still have an opportunity to tweak it. But the thing here is, it does it for me. The business consulting organization, I'm an elite member for Maya. It's $1,000 a month. It's an investment. I don't spend all that kind of money. My school, I have a 5,000 square foot facility. AC in the winter or in the summer, heating in the winter. I've got a multiple acres of parking. Okay, if I'm going to invest all that money, you damn right I'm going to hire an attorney to do my waiver. Matter of fact, I'm going to hire an attorney again to have him check. My attorney's no longer in business, so I'm going to hire another attorney to go through my waiver and just make sure all the things are up to date. But the thing here is this. You need to protect yourself. And those people say, oh, I don't need this. You don't know what you're talking about, because as soon as someone no one will sue me. Bullshit. If you got something to lose, they're going to go for it. Okay. And then you should have insurance, because God forbid something happens. If it's your negligence, you need to make sure your students are taken care of.
And if you own a school, you better check it, because like sexual harassment insurance and things like that might not be covered underneath your insurance. There's certain levels that might not even be covered underneath there.
I go Francis L. Dean for my school, but then I have separate fire and property renters insurance from another company. I make sure you cross the T's and dot the I's and all those. And the nice thing is, I had a guy that claimed to have broken his arm during class, but he never told me. During a grappling class. They had an investigator reach out to me, or my local attorney for them. They're like, I'm thinking about putting a PI on him and chasing him down. But because I had paper from the big 800-pound gorilla insurance company coming after me, law office coming after me, and they're like, no, they're refusing to let us do a deposition, so that's illegal. The case is over and done with. I'm like, oh, okay, great. But I had that in place. Here we go. Last one here. My parents hated lawyers. The lawyer informed them that I was their child. My dad said, don't remind them. Okay, all right. So listen, we could go through a whole bunch of things. Like, Rich, do you remember that list of McDojo things that we were talking about the other day?
Yeah.
What was one of the things on it? We just addressed birthday parties.
Yep.
Doing a birthday party does not make you McDojo. If your bread and butter is birthday parties, selling them, not getting the leads, we might have an argument then.
Yeah.
But what's another one, Rich?
Like no sparring. Absolutely zero sparring. Zero.
I know of martial arts schools that have got. Okay, listen. If you're looking for martial art and you're looking for that social activity and all that other stuff, doesn't need to be there. I mean, Tai Chi doesn't do sparring.
Correct.
There's a lot of schools that are very kata driven and technique driven. I'm not going to fault someone for not doing sparring, but if you're claiming self-defense and you're not doing any kind of resistance training, for me, martial arts, the tip of the spear has to be combat oriented. And that doesn't mean as dueling in the street. It means teaching my students how to defend themselves against realistic opponents, not these fantasy warriors of fighting other Filipino martial arts in the street, which is absolute lunacy, because everyone who knows Filipino martial arts in my town are my students. And there's not another Eskrima tribe coming in to invade. That's bullshit. Jesse, how say you?
We spar. We're always contacting. I mean, we have our Tai Chi class, but even that with Professor Duncan, we do combat Tai Chi. So we take it and then we show all the self-defense aspects too. So we make sure they're not just doing the Tai Chi part, but we're actually moving the movements also. But for me, martial arts, when we're martial, that's war. We have to be moving. We got to have pressure tests.
Yeah. But, I'm not going to fault a wushu school, because wushu is not a combative. It's a martial sport more than anything else.
Yes.
Let me see here. My waiver went from 1 to 4 pages and was done by a student who was a lawyer, and I was teaching recreational command in Guam. Okay. So what's another thing on the list?
They talk about sloppy techniques. And we discussed that earlier with the quality.
Yes, we did. Okay.
They discussed high costs. We kind of discussed that.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm charging $2K a year now, and I used to charge $50 a month.
Well, I mean, what's the national average for the larger schools through, like, say, Elite Maya?
Well, I'm not sure about that. They're around the same. You know, I tell you what,
$200 a month is what they want.
Decades ago, the national average was like $125 a month. The national average. Now, listen, you can't define it because you don't know the cost of living in your region.
That's right.
You know, I'm like, you know, if you do, whether you do paid in full or monthly installments with a down payment, all this other stuff, I'm anywhere from $140 to $165 a month. But then again, 5,000 square foot facility, air conditioned in the summer, heating in the winter, judo mats, tatami judo mats everywhere. I got a Focus Master on my wall, 7 full-size heavy bags. I mean, Thai boxing equipment. Let me see here. You can look up another one while I get this.
Besides how many decades of experience?
Well, and there's the other thing.
The decades of experience.
I'm the leading authority. Well, I'm gonna say I'm in my opinion, I'm the leading authority on Remy Prace's modern arnis. But I'm certified in modern arnis, kombatan. Rich and I are 2 of the senior students for Ted Buat's Balintawak. I do the Kuntao and the Sikaran. I constantly am on the mat training and continuing my education. I've heard through the internet forums that having the title of master or Sifu or professor makes you a McDojo. I don't agree. Thoughts? Professor Praces. Okay, Remy Praces went by professor. Now he taught at the colleges. And what do you call a teacher at the college? Professor. But Sifu, that means, isn't that teacher? And master? Father. Okay. And if someone has the master degree, why about who cares? If you did your work, 1.5 or less years to black. Okay, well that would be a little, yeah.
So some of them mentioned everybody gets black belt or everybody has a short time frame.
Okay.
But definition of short seems to vary from different websites to less than 2 years, or even referencing 3 to 5 years as being short.
So listen, Taekwondo kept it smart. They didn't add anything to their curriculum. You could get a black belt in Taekwondo in 2 years. Hell, Rich and I will tell you, you can learn the entire Balintawak system in 1 year and take a lifetime to master it.
Right.
Okay. Boom. Child care center during the day, martial arts school at night. Is that a McDojo? Or is that just being smart in how to make sure? We rent our facility 24/7, but we only use it for a couple hours a night. If I had someone who was willing to run it during the day, who is as passionate about doing a child care during the day as I am about martial arts at night, I would definitely have a daycare center pay my school. Matter of fact, the one of the biggest judo school in Buffalo was having problems keeping the place open. They opened a daycare facility during the day. It got so busy they bought a separate building to put it in. What's wrong with that?
One of the others is either too many belts, meaning that they make up belts to fill in to give more test points, or too many belts or made up ranks. That's what a lot of them are saying as well.
There you go. My rent is expensive. I charge $2,400 for the first, which includes all the uniforms and gear. Okay. I
see a lot of schools where they put in extra belts. I mean, I know when I have my 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, it's called the Skills and Drills program. They get a black stripe every day if they put in effort. After 24 classes, they get a new white belt. a white
Right.
with a yellow, a white with an orange. They're not testing for it. I'm not charging for it. They're 4, 5, 6. And then tonight I had some of those kids, as I'm pointing to my empty dojo, I had some of those kids testing after 18 months with me for their yellow belt, in a real test. So they had to do it on their own, no help, and get through it. It's what?
If a dojo is in Ireland, could they be a McDojo?
It could be, and if they're in Scotland,
I'm
Scotland
about to
would
go
be
get
a
my
Mac
bata out
dojo.
right now.
All right, now listen. So we could, for as many things as you could say what a McDojo is, we could say why it's not.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say, in my opinion. First of all, being successful at business does not make you a McDojo. The thing here to me is what the intent is. If they're phoning it in and don't care about the martial arts anymore, then you start looking at it through those eyes and say, all right, we got to look at what's going on. If the person is doing the best they can and they're concerned about teaching people good martial arts, teaching them how to defend themselves, why not?
Yeah.
Skills and drills test our patient. Yeah.
Sometimes Chris helps with the skills and drills class, and he realizes that 30-minute class is the hardest class I run all day long for me. I walk out of that 4 and 5-year-old group sweating more than I walk out of my adult class sometimes.
Yeah. So, and teaching little ones, here's the thing. Like, okay, I have a 3-year-old program, 3.5, taking some before that. That's how shy I started. Ryan Montelopoulos, my student right now, started when he was 4 years old. He was the body double for Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin on the latest Spider-Man movie.
Nice.
He's 30 years old. He still trains with me, hopefully coming up to the instructors camp in August. And if I didn't take him at 4 years old, he would have found someplace that would have. And the thing is, he could have gone to Taekwondo, and we don't want anyone to go to Taekwondo. No. We're just upset that they're better business people than we are. Which, at the end of the day, being a good business person doesn't mean you're ripping. Listen, I'm a businessman. I started as a dual income family. I am a single income family. My job is to get my clients to give me as much money as possible while they feel that they're getting a value. Okay. That's what Remy Pracis did. That's what Danny Inosanto does. That's what all these people do. Everyone who's talking about McDojos, is it because they had a bad experience in the school that people got smarter with their training and you like the old the old school days where you beat the crap out of each other, but you lost partners? Your people aren't training anymore. Okay, you don't like the fact that, I had someone talk to me once about this. Oh, the website, it's all stock footage. There's nobody there from there. I go, and I've got a lot of stock footage on my website, but I also have some actual footage of my students because I told them, get it up there and we'll get real footage later. I just need my website up.
My web page isn't for my current students. My web page is for the students I want coming in.
Right.
I've got a whole separate page for my students that I have now.
Well, actually, the nice thing is my website, if you pay for one of these professional websites, a lot of them will have a members section.
Yes.
And in that members section, where you need the password to get in,
yes,
you will see videos and all this other stuff. So I converted my website from a things for my members as a recruiting thing, what it should be.
Yes.
But it doesn't.
As an example of like old school, there was a Filipino guy I worked with as an engineer at General Motors, and he asked about classes when he found out I taught. So he shows up training for about 2 months, and his uncle comes in and says, "Oh, you're not old school." I said, "No, I want you to learn. I want you to be able to go to work tomorrow." And he goes, "Well, he asked me to ask you to teach me old school." I said, "Okay, no problem." I said, "Pick up your stick. Everybody else sit down." And he's like, they all did. Swung, He went to block, reached over, tapped him on the other shoulder. He's like, I don't know that. All right, let's do that again. Hit him again. Now, I'm not sending him to the hospital. I'm not leaving bruises. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, block. I've taught you how to block to the right and block to the left. Figure it out. And he's like, okay. So I swing to his left, switch to his right. He goes to block. I switch back to the other side. And he starts coming back again. Great. Do it again. Try to stick with my hand and come over top. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And I said, figure it out. And he's like, can I go back to the way we used to do it here? And I went, sure, no problem. And then I started showing the counters and how to move and how to work. And all of a sudden, he's like, oh, okay. He goes home. He comes back. He actually tracked me down at work because he worked at a different site than I did, but we sometimes saw each other. He came to my site and said, hey, my uncle, I saw him. Yeah. I told him what you did. He started laughing. He's like, yeah, old school. But was it value added though to the student? No, because everybody gets lost and he was frustrated, right?
Yeah.
So can you maintain quality? Can you maintain seriousness? Can you test your techniques? Yes. You don't have to hurt your students to prove that point.
All right, here we go. Old McDojo had a school. Everyone got a belt.
You gotta do it as a song.
Oh.
E-I-E-I-O.
Oh, okay. Old McDonald had a school. Yeah. Everyone got it. Okay, got it. Okay.
And that's one of the things to also mention is that everybody gets a black belt.
Yeah.
Everybody goes, here's a belt for you. Here's a belt for you.
Okay, so let's do this just as and I'm not embarrassed about this at all. So I'm gonna share something. Bum, 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 bum. So this is my school. Obviously, it was winter.
You mean it was Buffalo?
Okay. All right. You got me there. It was last week. Okay. I've got the longest Filipino martial arts school running, to my knowledge, in North America. Full-time professional Filipino martial arts school. I started in 1988. Horizon Martial Arts. And this was footage we used for FMA discussion. I go, this is what we can do when we put our mind to it.
Yeah.
It's my selfie station for people to log,
Huge way to go. Datu, do you own your building?
No, I'm in a strip mall.
Okay.
Yeah, owning a building in New York is not the best thing to do.
I saw the original people buying buildings and all sold them. So,
well, the ones I knew in the 70s and early 80s, they would try to do duplex buildings. So you could have one tenant basically guaranteeing most or all of your mortgage for the building. So if you had bad months, you could get by that way. But by the mid 80s, most of them had all sold and chose rent. I don't know if it was additional liability issues or what, but
that's on your webpage.
That's on my YouTube channel.
I love it. That was awesome.
So I'm not embarrassed about having a nice school. I don't think it's a McDojo. People have seen my students. Matter of fact, when I did my test, Rich and others there, and we had the largest modern Ernie's black belt promotion ever. We had 50 people. We had 7 junior black belts, 7 junior black belts, and
43.
43. Yeah, 43 adult black belt. Okay. At the end of the day, they were vetted by a whole bunch of people. And one of the things we can talk about a whole bunch of things. Okay, he wanted an old school, so Rich hit him with a tuna can. and thank you, Chris. And when it comes to sit there, everyone says, "Oh, you did this huge payday." Well, here's what I do for my black belt testing. Black belt's currently $250. Okay, we do prep seminars, so I did 5 of them. Each one was $50. If you took the prep seminars, dollar for dollar went for your testing fee. So a lot of people didn't have to pay for, they would have to go through this these pre-training things anyways. So now if they didn't go, they have to pay. If they didn't want to do the seminars, they just decided to pay for the test. But here's the thing: they were hybrid seminars, which were virtual and physical if you were there, and you got the video. So if you couldn't attend the seminar live, you could always get the video later and watch it. I do not look at that being a money grab.
It's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time.
A lot of time.
They got their belts, they got their diplomas, and our diplomas were done by Ed Parker Jr. I paid over $2,000 to have everything set up, including the printer. Now I got to replace the printer because it's considered obsolete. So once I can no longer get toner for it, which is getting to that point, it'll be another $1,500 for a new printer. I run the organization literally out of my pocket. I make money off my seminars, but when you join our organization, a student is $99 and it's a lifetime membership. A school is $299, lifetime membership. You get to list your seminars and school and stuff on the website. It's not paying for everything, So there's a lot of money that flies around, but there's a lot of expenses that go with it. It's not one of those things of I'm charging $500 every time you go up a belt and giving you a piece of electrical tape. We know those days.
I got my electrical tape over there.
I got a good deal on electrical tape. I don't pay for those stripes, so. Well, listen, I got nothing else. Was there anything you wanted to talk about, Jesse?
I just, when it comes to the McDojo phrase, it gets hard because there's going to be people who are out there that are all old school, and they train the certain way. And I think that's great. But that doesn't take away from the new methods of training. And it's a lot of the old school stylists don't train at all anymore because they're injured, they're hurt, they can't move, they've got body aches and pains, and they're not out here. I know my instructor, and I know you know him very well too, Datu. He's in his 70s, and he's still at the dojo twice a week. He has a school where he's only open 2 times a week because he wants to have a place to train at. He's old school from the old days, but he's also gotten to realize that you can't do this. And he wouldn't be able to do it if he trained into his 70s, if he was old school all 50, 60 years he's been training. So, I mean, he got smarter, and, we all need to. Just because, your friend down the street's making money doing what they love and put their whole blood, sweat, tears, heart, and soul into it doesn't make them a McDojo. They're producing great people, great characters, and some physically fit, good martial artists. I mean, that's some good stuff right there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, charging money means nothing. That is not a determination because you know what? Our teachers charged us. And times have changed. And, at the end of the day, let's think about this. Who's paying for all these top-notch seminars these days? Who's paying for it's the commercial schools listen, I became a commercial school and brought Remy Praces. I started doing that. Okay. Others did it on other people's money. All right. But at the end of the day, you look around and all these people are talking about the old school. If they grew up in the town that they're bitching about, they train with one of these guys. And just because they changed their business model because there was a better way of doing things, doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different. And, You got to take the good with the bad and say, well, we used to train harder. That doesn't mean it was the right thing to do. Just because you came up that way, my body still functions.
Yeah.
Not many people can say, I look at the Seeker people, a lot of them can't throw kicks anymore. They're walking around with canes. Okay. New school, they're still training. So let's do this. So Eric says, amen. I haven't heard Eric all night. That was good to wire in there. It costs for knowledge. Yeah, there's a cost for knowledge. The doctor old school used to teach me to cut my fingers off when I broke them. Okay, all right. And then if you can do tomorrow what you did, let me see. If you do tomorrow what you did that you will get tomorrow. Am I reading right? What you got today. Times change. You can't do the same thing and expect different results. Well, I mean, that's the insanity thing, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different response. We evolved. Okay. Listen, we know there's a whole bunch of people out there who just think about the dollar, and that's the motivator. And it's good that you made it. Eric, listen, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong for charging money. There's nothing wrong for doing this as a living, because our teachers did the same thing. Okay. They charge us money.
Yeah.
And they charge more these days because there's more expenses these days. Try to buy a gallon of gas. Okay. I only get like 1 or 2 gallons. doesn't make me feel as bad. All right. I got nothing else. Rich, you got anything in closing?
No, thank you for allowing me to attempt to fill Dr. Ty's Bodding's shoes.
All right, there you go. Jesse, anything else?
Thank you for letting me guess and jump in here with you guys. I appreciate it.
Okay, here we go. I told
Care,
you.
love you,
I would
Care.
listen if Jesse was on. All right, listeners, as always, everyone, please stay safe and stay sane. This is Datu Tim with Master Rich and Master Jesse saying thank you and see you all soon.
Okay.